You know, I could just see her. But yeah, that's her.
Little Emma's talkative, though.
Well,
Right.
I only saw her in still picture form.
We're live again.
So there wasn't even
Just
any
let you know.
interaction.
Are we live again?
We're live again.
We're
so
live again.
just boom. We're gonna just forget the intro. We're straight into it. We'll just keep talking. We'll do what we can with this. If we have to piecemeal it together for this, then so be it. We'll see what's up. So.
And we're definitely going to have a part 2 or
We're
something.
definitely gonna have to have a part 2 because this part 1 just
blows.
Yep, it just. Thank you, internet gods. You really fucking suck tonight.
Frontier. You're fucking amazing as usual.
Yeah. So, welcome back to Edge of the Rabbit Hole. We're currently on the Haunted Cafe episode. Back and forth. Here we go. Take 4.
Yep. Well, that's pretty interesting revelation, though. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I feel a little bit of validation, a little bit of joy over not being crazy. So yay.
Well, and see, there was a big Native American settlement there, and when the first night that Jeannie Chilton was there, and she's the lady that owns it now, we had a group scheduled to come in, and they canceled, and they offered Jeannie's group their spot, and they happened to be free that night, so they came on over from St. Louis, and she was so impressed that she bought the place.
Wow.
And the first recording that she got in there was, we thought it was a Native American speaking. And she tried, she's a college professor, so she has a lot of contacts. And she tried getting it translated by a lot of linguists, and nobody was having any luck translating it. It would have been Algonquin Indian, but people that knew Algonquin weren't able to translate the phrase. And it was spoken pretty clearly, so it's not like they couldn't understand it. And she finally found a guy that had been a linguist since like 1967. And it took him 10 seconds. He said, yes, it's not Algonquin. I can translate it. It's Zulu.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And it said,
okay. At the risk of sounding stupid, what the hell Zulu?
like an ancient African language.
Wow.
I think that a lot of the people who were brought over as slaves spoke Zulu. And the phrase was saying, I am the one true God who created all other gods.
Wow.
Hey, we do need to recognize a $10 super chat from Tom McNicholas. He says, damn Frontier Internet. Thank you very much, Tom. Absolutely appreciate it. So we should throw that out there as as some housekeeping we didn't do earlier, that this coming weekend, the Afterlife Paranormal Conference in DeKalb, Illinois, Shana and I will be there.
Thank you, Jake Medford, for giving me Friday off.
Yeah. Thank you,
awesome.
Jake Medford.
Best boss ever.
So
That is really bizarre. So I have to ask, given the obvious Native American presence and what appears to be possibly a voodoo or hoodoo presence there, based on what you just said and my minimal knowledge of it.
Uh-huh.
Has anybody ever went in there with any type of offering or any type? They have? What happened with that?
Oh, Shana, you want to tell about the necklace?
Well, it originally started because Rita, we were talking about something that a relative, had done. Basically dug up, some from rains, from a property that they were living on, and didn't put it back. And I guess brought it in the house.
Yeah, it was a little small baby, and he brought it home and put it under the trailer.
What?
Yeah, so we were talking about that inside the cafe, and somebody there didn't like it. So
Threw a fit.
Threw a
tantrum fit.
I mean, a baby?
Little Indian baby out of a mound. brought it home and didn't take it back and put it in the mound because he's an idiot. That's an ex-brother-in-law.
Yeah.
He's an idiot. We won't talk about him, but I was telling about it in the cafe, and our Native American guy threw a tantrum fit. I mean, and our other guy, our nice guy, the young guy that liked us and would joke with us, the ghost, you could hear him in the background while the Native American guy was throwing a fit, and he was saying, "Just get out, please get out, please get out." I mean, he was knocking our stuff, our snacks over on the table, and oh my gosh, it was terrible.
That's a huge deal. I can't believe somebody would do that. I mean, I've worked in dentistry for 18 years, and I've worked with the Indian tribes for 2 of those years. And they are so particular, and rightfully so, about their bodies, you know, upon death and upon going into that next life, that if we extracted a tooth, even an adult tooth that was completely rotten, it left with them. Because every piece that can be accounted for has to go into the grave. It has to stay there. At least from what little I know about it. That is why would you take a baby?
Because my ex-brother-in-law's an idiot.
He's stupid.
Yeah, well, we were
He's
talking
just
about
plain
it.
dumb.
We had talked about it inside the cafe, you know, so to make, you know, amends, you know, as a show of respect, even though it wasn't us that did it, you know, we had a necklace. It was turquoise, looked kind of Native American, you know.
It had bone beads and feathers and stuff.
So we left it, you know, as a peace offering, you know, and, you know, the story that we told, you know, he found, you know, disrespectful, you know, obviously. And so even though we were not physically a part of it, we still, you know, chose to be respectful and make amends on behalf of her idiot family member. So, but the building basically ate the necklace. Like it was no longer there. So after leaving
and he never threw a rant again. So obviously we appeased him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you supplied me with some photos of things that were dug up out of the basement. So there's artifacts that are here on site. So do we want to take a look at those real quick?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. So this is, let's see here. If I can find it. Where's the basement? Yeah, FA basement. Okay, so that's the basement where stuff was dug up at. And then... Okay, what are these, Shana?
It's my dad.
Oh, that's fine. No, what are these?
I Rita, I think those were, didn't you take those next door to like the archaeology department?
Yeah, and they couldn't tell us what the metal was, but what they did say was it was magnetic and rusted, and the only way it could be magnetic and rusted would be if it was meteorite. But it was like nails made of meteorite, but they had like a cap that went over the sharp part of the nail that looked like a skull.
Yeah.
Were they honed like?
Yeah.
Like by hand, honed by hand?
Yeah.
Were they able to distinguish what type of meteorite?
No.
Wow.
And I don't know about the round thing, but Jeannie, the owner, took the metal things home with her. She kind of became obsessed with them, and she took them home with her, and her home just erupted in this just horrible paranormal activity. And we have a picture. She was in the shower, and she got out of the shower, and somebody had written on her mirror, like with their finger, and she was home alone. And it said something about
this is
today I'm here, tomorrow I'm gone.
The baby.
And she snapped 3 pictures. She snapped 3 pictures of her mirror trying to catch what it said on the mirror. And in these pictures, the first one you see her white door. The second one you see this black mist forming. And the third one you see this little man. He's just a little taller than the counter. And he's got his hand up on the counter. And he looks like a demonic Bobby Hill from King of the Hill.
Right there.
Here's the pic. Hang on, let me
There he is. Look at him.
He's kind of
Ew.
And
kind
other
of
people
peeking
can
right there.
see-
Yeah.
Other people can see more figures in the mirror. I can't see them, but I can see him loud and clear. But
Yeah, I'm
that's
usually
what appeared
skeptical
in-
of mirror pics, but that one's pretty interesting with the little creeper down there.
That's what appeared in her house after she took those artifacts home from that basement, those meteorite artifacts.
Now, has any experimentation been done with those? If they're magnetic, are they still holding those properties?
I don't know. I don't know what Jeannie did with them. It freaked her out so bad.
I think
She actually stopped ghost hunting, and she wrote a book about why she stopped ghost hunting because of that picture and that entity that was in her house. It was trying to lure her little granddaughter out the door into the street. It did it 2 or 3 times. Her pit bulls died. They were after something in her house, and they just died. Yeah, whatever she took home with her was not good. Not good at all.
I thought Jeannie told me that she used a K2 meter and it like leveled it out whenever she pointed him at the artifacts.
Wow.
So they had their own electromagnetic field.
Yeah,
Yes, and she had also she had tried to take pictures down there where the artifacts were dug up. The reason they dug in that spot was because her sister felt the ground vibrating under her foot. She said it was like a cell phone vibrating. And she took her camera down there and tried to photograph the spot, and her camera malfunctioned. And she'd bring it upstairs and it'd be fine. She'd take it downstairs and it would malfunction. So she waited a little while and she asked one of the other guys, go downstairs and try to take my camera down there and take a picture of that spot. And he went down and took a picture, and the picture was a mist in the shape of the head of an alien gray.
Oh, wow. Now, this is... Now, is that in this photo here of the basement, or is that just a different pic?
That's the cellar,
It's a different picture.
but that's a different, yeah.
Okay.
That's the spot, but it was a different picture.
Is that hole under whoever this woman is that the hole
Yeah,
that
that's
the...
Jeannie's.
Is that the hole it was dug up from?
Yes, that's Jeannie's sister, and they also found a concrete slab underground that was about 6 feet by 3 feet. But between the ground and the concrete slab was where they found the artifacts.
Did they ever go below the concrete slab?
I don't believe so. No,
What about around it?
I don't believe so.
Okay. It almost, and this could be so out there, but we're on a roll, so let's go for it.
Go for it.
If those were on top or in between the concrete slab and the earth, would it not stand to reason that those might have been part of something or a ritual to keep whatever is under, and more actually what I'm seeing inside a concrete encasement in the ground?
That's a distinct possibility.
Because if you are just, like I said, in my limited knowledge, if you're trying to keep something contained, then especially if it's something that functions differently than we do and has a different electromagnetic charge, then you have to use something or more inclined to use something with a similar or higher electromagnetic charge, or something that vibrates at a higher level. So that rumbling that Jeannie or her sister felt could have been whatever is in that concrete encasement, moving that and the electromagnetic field from those points vibrating up to try to see if they could go even lower and get whatever that is out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know that sounds really bizarre, but we're there anyway.
Well, this place
You're just going down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Down the rabbit hole.
Well, and the reason that I'm so intrigued by it being by them saying that it would almost have to be meteorite is because I have jewelry that's moldavite, which is basically atmosphere frozen in time from a meteorite hitting the Moldov Valley in Czechoslovakia.
And real quick, we have a $5 super chat from Rolf Pfeiffer Mueller. Vielen Dank, Rolf.
Thank you. Danke. But that Moldavite is charged by the sun. It's one of the few things that can be charged by the sun. And so bringing those up and out into the air, into the sun and whatever, just to me stands to reason it would be something similar. Is that almost like empowered it? Mm-hmm. Shana, do you follow what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I do. It does make a lot of sense.
If anyone still has those pins, they need to be encased in something and put back where they were.
I'm absolutely not sure what Jeannie did with them because she was so freaked out by them that I never got the straight of whether she kept them, discarded them, took them back to the cafe.
Discard them.
Oh, boy.
We have a question here from the chat from Betty Lange. What year did Shana and Rita work there?
1907.
1907?
I'm sorry. 2007.
Shana, I'm old, but my goodness.
I spent a long time off the frontier, Missy.
She could be my great-grandmother.
No wonder it's past my bedtime. I'm 118.
I know I look like The Walking Dead, but come on now. Okay. 2007.
There you go.
Oh, my God.
So when Jeannie found all this stuff, was that before or after y'all worked?
Thanks.
It was after. We worked there while it was still an open cafe and secondhand store. And then they closed it up. We helped them clean up. And then we asked for ghost hunting rights. And the very next day, Shana and I walked through there. And, broad daylight, freezing cold, no electricity in the place. And we had our little recorders, and we're going to be ghost hunters. And Shana said, well, no, the first day, we walked around, we recorded, we took pictures, and we were sitting at the table talking about how to transfer these pictures over to the computer. And she said her dad was her techie guru, and he'd have to help her with that. And we played back. We had the recorder going this whole time. And we played it back when we got home, and this old lady is screaming over the top of us, "Get out! Get out!" So we go back the next day, and Shauna's like, "Hey, you said get out, so we're back." And she said, "Do you spend any time upstairs?" And the little kid said, "Yes, with my mommy." And, of course, we were hooked, and we were there pretty much every day for the next, 5-6 years?
Yeah.
Is that where you got the mommy EVP?
Couldn't stay away.
Yeah. Okay, so since this is a new broadcast, let me go ahead and play that mommy clip again. So, it's this.
Do you spend any time upstairs? I can hear stuff moving around upstairs.
I know.
Do you spend any time upstairs? I can hear stuff moving around upstairs.
I know.
And that was Adam Tiller's drawing of Byron, who was the little boy that fell out of the tree.
And the day that I saw Byron, it was just Kathy and I in the building, the owner whenever Rita and I were working there. And I went in there alone, which, I usually don't do, and especially that building. I'd worked in it alone, but now knowing everything that I knew about this building, there was no way I'd have been in there alone, but I did it anyway. And I didn't have my recorder, I didn't have a phone, didn't have a camera, I didn't have anything. All I had was myself and my balls of steel, which apparently I borrowed one from Rita or something, because I don't know what possessed me, but anyway, but I could hear someone moving around, and I was sure it was him, and so I said, it's just me and you in here. Nobody will ever know that I see you, so if you want to show yourself to me and let me see you, I'd love to see you. I'd love to meet you. And then I could hear him. There was this hallway that we called Action Alley that separated the dining room, the dining area. Alley. Yeah, because anytime you sat there, shit was going down. Something was going to happen, you know. And it was a creaky walkway, too. So as soon as you heard that, you knew something was going to happen. But I could hear something on the other side. So there's like the creepy walkway, and then there's like this little barrier that separated. Yeah, like a half wall that separated the little hallway there and the kitchen area. And I said, I'm going to count to 3, you know, and then I'm going to step around. And so 1, 2, 3. And I didn't expect to see anybody standing there because, you know, they don't perform on demand except for on TV. So, you know, it's true.
We know how that goes.
Yeah. So, but then there was a little boy standing there. And I mean, he was just as clear as a bell to me. I mean, the features and everything. And I described, you know, a little bit of, you know, what I saw to Adam. And Adam Tillery drew that picture that you just saw, and it was just like,
moving around upstairs.
Can they hear me?
Yeah, they can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it was just like I had taken a snapshot and sent it to him and said, here, draw this freehanded or trace it or whatever, you know? So, I mean, I was shook. It was really kind of emotional too, because, you know, he basically brought back, you know, this boy that I used to, you know, be connected to on the daily and would follow me home and stuff. And so I felt like I had a third kid. And so he basically brought that back for me. And eventually you will see the picture, a framed picture of Byron hanging up in the studio. So, because Adam gave it to me. So,
Oh.
Yeah.
Now, Shana, that action alley, Shana or Rita, either one, that action alley, when you said that it was a creaky floor, and so you knew if you heard a sound there that something was getting ready to go down.
Right.
Question. But did it ever seem like the noise wasn't coming from something walking across the floor, but something more pushing up on the floor?
I mean, that whole...
It's weird, just because when you were describing it, it was almost like there was wood swelling.
Well, that place, the sound effects could be so weird. Like we described, there'd be someone running above our heads upstairs, but there's no floor there. It's just rafters. But it was somebody running like in patent leather shoes or something across the floor that's non-existent. And the same with things, you know, under, around. It was just hard to say where anything in that place was coming from. It was just like a swirling vortex. Yeah. The building was like breathing.
Yeah, that's what, because I wasn't sure if it was like my weird make this a movie mind type of thing or what, but that's what it feels like to me, is like it's breathing. Like the wood is swelling and you know, swelling and contracting, swelling and contracting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that building had so many different kinds of energy in it, you know, every day. You know, like she had said earlier, I don't know if anybody caught it, you know, there was like the major players, the main ones that were there all the time. And then all of a sudden there's like new voices, you know, coming through. New energy, new activity, new stuff going on, you know, and then you wouldn't hear somebody for a little bit and then they'd come back, you know. I've talked about our our team mascot, Rhodey. Yeah. You know, that's what he said his name was. I mean,
we picked him up at the cemetery.
Yeah, we picked him up at a cemetery. And, you know, he would announce his presence everywhere we went, you know, and he'd follow any of us anywhere. And he'd always, you know, and then one of our shows we were talking about demons, right? Which, you know,
right.
No thanks. But we were talking about demons. And I said, you know, I'd never really encountered any demonic activity except for one time that it would give me pause and I'd have to think about it because Rhodey all of a sudden wasn't sweet, nice Rhodey anymore.
Right. He was so funny and cute, and he'd say the funniest things, and he had a funny little voice, And we'd be like, come on, Rhodey, let's go bye-bye. And we'd take him on road trips with us because he was going whether we liked it or not. And then we hadn't heard from him in months, like 6 months. And we were sitting in the cafe discussing, well, we haven't seen Rhodey. We haven't heard from Rhodey. And we said, you know, Rhodey, if you wanted to come around, we kind of miss you. We'd like to see you. We'd like to talk to you. And one of our co-investigators said something terribly politically incorrect. And on the recording, you hear Rhodey say, oh, I got that soul.
And that's the closest thing I have to, you know, anything that I would consider. You know, I always joke that I keep a little black box of souls in my sock drawer, but, you know.
We know you're a demon.
I don't think I'm a demon or anything. So that's the closest thing I've got.
We all have our moments.
Yeah.
We all
have
have
some
our
demons
moments.
in your closet. Hey, we got a few questions from the chat. So let's take these real quick. From Zippy Davis, he says, I'm curious. I know you can use salt to bind a spirit, but since they don't have actually a physical form, how can that keep them trapped?
Intent.
Who's that for?
That's for anybody. Anybody's willing to answer it.
Yeah, I agree with Shana. Intent. It's more for your protection than actual physical protection from them. If you believe that the salt puts a barrier between you and the spirit, then it's your belief that's keeping the barrier there. The salt is the physical manifestation of your belief that you've put a barrier there.
Well, not just that, but it's the same if you have a white piece of paper and you put an ant on it and you draw a black circle with a magic marker and that ant is on the inside of that circle, it won't cross.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding. It won't cross that. So it's our intent, but when we put that intent towards the spirit or whatever it is that we don't want to come into contact with us or that we want to contain, it's not just the intent for our protection. It's that they can actually kind of assume that intent as, oh, I didn't realize I can't fuck with you. And you know, it's kind of twofold. It's kind of twofold on that. But yeah, no, that's true. Get a white piece of paper, put an ant on it, draw a black circle around it. It won't leave.
I can trap spiders and burn them.
There you go.
Well, you'll have to put them back.
Yeah.
I ain't touching them.
So from Tom McNicholas, what was the name of the cafe? I know it had like some different names, right?
Yeah, it had some different names.
It was Garner's store for a long time.
Yeah, Gardner's store, and we always wondered, you know, why she closed so early. You know, when we talked to her after the fact, she says, "Why do you think I closed before dark? That place was crazy at night." You know, I didn't know that. You know, I just was like,
awesome.
It was normal to me. You know, when I was growing up, I didn't know, and you know, I wasn't looking for that kind of stuff then, so I wouldn't have known. And but whenever Rita and I were working there, it was CBC River Treasures and Cafe. Captain Bill and Kathy's River Treasures and Cafe.
Cool.
Huh.
So Robert asks, is there any more information about the little girl?
I mean,
The little girl we were discussing that drowned, or the little girl we call Emma, because we're not sure if that's the same little girl.
yeah, we're not. She was very outspoken. She definitely
Very personable. She followed us around, playful, and the one of the best EVPs we ever got. We had a long night of investigating. We had our guests in that investigated with us a lot, and we had recorders upstairs. And to get upstairs in this place, there was no staircase, so you had to climb on a kitchen counter, go through a hole in the attic, crawl across the attic rafters into a hole in the side of the kitchen of the.
I've heard about these acrobatics.
Yeah, that was me.
You know, Shana was very brave about going up there. I was not so much because A, I thought if I had to come back down quickly, I was coming down on my head.
Oh, yeah.
And B, I was scared shitless up there. I climbed her dad like a tree one time because something took off running past us. So I didn't go up there a lot, but Shana had been up there, and I'm a little bit older than Shana, if you hadn't noticed, so I don't climb as much. But she's like half monkey, so she would go up there all the time, and she had her recorder up there, and it was Easter time, and she had brought a little stuffed rabbit, and she had taken it up there and left it. We left dolls up there all the time, and they'd all get moved around and piled into piles and stuff. So she left this little rabbit up there, and it's like 4 a.m. She comes down. We're packing up. You can hear us. She left the recorder on, and you can hear us packing up. And she had said, Emma, this little rabbit's for you. Happy Easter. And you hear upstairs in the background this little girl going, I got a bunny. I got a bunny. She sounded to be about 4 or 5. And you could hear her talking to a woman, but you couldn't make out what the woman was saying. But she was all excited because she got a bunny. I think we have that one.
Yeah, we have that EVP actually. Actually, it's in a whole string of EVPs, so I'll play the whole thing. 'Cause basically, I just ripped it from your YouTube. So that one is Cafe EVP. So here we go. So this is like a 1.5-minute clip. You get to hear all kinds of stuff. Rita, Vanessa, and Shana, we won't be able to hear this. Oh, okay. And Jake.
Where was this at?
At Andy's.
Okay.
In person. We're gonna run outside. You all just talk among yourselves. We'll play you some more music.
Crap.
We'll get this place woke back up. If the house is a rockin', nobody not don't run into that. Oh yeah. Don't run that. Watch out for that tree. George, the jungle, bring to you and me. Yeah, I don't know. You pay your phone? No. Where's your phone? In my pocket. In my phone. You touching my bag? I got rid of everything in this building.
You want another drag off my cigarette? I'm holding it right here for you again.
Okay. So that was a whole string of different EVPs.
Oh, some of those bring back some memories.
Oh my gosh. Especially the Go Ask Jesus one. Because that was when we found something slimy gross on the floor, and we were trying to figure out where in the hell it came from. And we were looking all over, like, looking for...
It was food. Nobody brought any food.
Yeah. And it wasn't a functioning, restaurant anymore, or cafe. So, where the hell did it come from? We're like, where'd it come from? And then you hear this, Go Ask Jesus.
Or when Teresa and I were acting stupid singing Georgia the Jungle, and they said, crap. I guess they didn't like our singing.
The Go Right to Sleep one, if you guys go on Amazon or My Ghost Story, their page, and you look up Season 6, Episode 21, The Gropes of Wrath, that's the EVP that went with the hand on my face picture and looked like one across my chest, like I was being groped. But it felt like I was being touched on my
Yeah,
back.
we have that one. We have that one. Oops. I noticed something in there.
Where was this at?
It felt like I was being touched on my back, but I guess not.
So that one, yes, everybody, the screen is black. I'm trying to bring up, there it is.
And Shana, I had been sitting there at the table with her, and she asked me to take her picture. And if you see, it looks like a skeletal hand on her face and one on her chest, and it kind of lit up her chest area.
Yeah,
And,
but there is somebody behind her.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see there's like a face behind her, and the EVP that goes with it says, "Go right to sleep." Because she said, "Are you touching me?"
But it's the little boy behind her.
Huh.
Well, he better not be
That's my-
touching my boob like that.
No, he's
I
not
can-
touching your front. He's behind you. His head is almost even with yours. And
Oh,
he's
right
in
there.
profile.
Oh,
Right there.
oh, I can
That's
see
Byron.
it now.
Is that true? Is that Matrix?
He's in profile.
Then why does the creepy EVP say, "Go right to sleep"?
I see what she's
That's
saying.
not
there, but
him
I see this
talking.
guy up here, too. We could all be Matrix. I don't know.
Yeah, that's not Byron that says that, but he's standing directly behind her. He's got brown hair. He is almost right. He's actually maybe a half an inch shorter than she is, sitting down.
Yeah, I can
You
kind of
see him? You can see his profile, his chin line, and his ear. I can see
Yeah.
it perfectly.
I do
I see
too.
what
I
she's talking
thought
about
maybe
right
it was
there.
Matrixing, but I think I see it.
Now he's standing directly behind her. That's what you felt on your back, Shana.
Wonder if he might have been trying to get between her and the nasty spirit.
Could be. I just think actually that he was sticking close to her because he feels safe.
He was a handful, that one.
He was very attached to Shana.
Yeah. Yeah, he came home with me all the time. Rita and I'd be on the phone. Rita and I'd be on the phone. I called her one night. I was like, my kids, I said, I would always tell him, you can play with me, but don't play with my kids. I don't think they would understand, you. And so you just play with me. But I would always see him in shadow form. Except for the one time in the cafe, I would always see him in shadow form at the house. And he would stand in between my front door. In between the front door, is a corner. And then my kids' room is right there. As soon as you walk in to the right, my kids' rooms are right there. And I saw the little shadow pop up. And I was like, don't go over there. Don't go in that room. The boys are sleeping. Don't go in there. Well, little shadow arm, would be like reaching out towards the door to their room. And I'd be like, you better not. So I'm sitting there feeling like I've lost my shit because here I am getting on to, this shadow kid.
Your third child.
Right. And I remember we were running we were running the recorder. Rita was laughing. Her and, I was like, oh my God, you have to come over here. I was like, he's not listening to me. Like, I feel like I'm getting on to him. He's not even listening to me, and, basically, we told him, if you're not going to listen, then you're going to have, you're going to have to leave, and then you hear this little boy, on the audio laugh and say, I'll see. I'm like, okay. Yeah, we will see, I felt like I was losing my shit daily. I was like, surely I'm not. Well, no, of course I'm not crazy because other people are experiencing it too. So it's not just me,
Well, that's better than what I took home with me, Shana.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. I
that one's on YouTube also. Oh.
Yeah, I felt like something was going on in my house. I lived up on the bluffs, and so I was big brave pants. I'm going to put out a recorder. My husband worked on the towboats, and he was gone for 30 days. So yeah, I'm going to scare the shit out of myself in my house and run a recorder. So I turn on this recorder, and of course, a few minutes in, I have to use the bathroom. And of course, I'm home alone, so I don't close the door. So you hear me go into the bathroom, And about a half a minute later, you hear this creep go, "Watch Mama."
Oh,
And I was like, oh, hell no. And then our friend at the museum got the same recording when she had a recorder on in the bathroom at the museum, and she calls me up and she's like, "You brought your creepy friend here to the museum." And I'm like, "I told him to get out of my house. He had nowhere to go. He was homeless." He could have gone back to the cafe, but oh.
Yeah, that's on YouTube. That's on the channel. The Watch Mama, I think it is.
One of the creepiest things I've ever heard in my life.
We have some other questions from chat here. From Karen Whitaker. Vanessa, are you feeling that the energy from under the ground is coming up through the cafe?
Yeah. Absolutely. I think that, honestly, the reason that happened, and I've never stepped foot in the place, but I think the reason that happened was because that energy was trying to get somebody to basically unearth it.
And Jeannie felt the same way. That's why she was drawn to that basement. Mm-hmm. And it creeped her right the hell out so badly that she doesn't go back in her own building.
Yeah. I mean, I obviously can't guarantee that. I can only go by what my gut says. But, yeah, without a doubt for me.
Yeah, she'd even said that, because we had just tried to discuss, why is this place, so much tragedy had happened in this one spot, and all around it, so we even, we're sitting on, Rita's porch one day, porch dough, having a powwow and discussing, what about ley lines? Does that have something to do with it? And, from what I remember, from what Jeannie had talked about the one time, after doing research, is that spot, sat like right on the connector, a point. So, that probably adds some, and, it's limestone bluffs all over the area. It's right by the river. I mean, there's all kinds of good, conductors of energy, soaking it up and just. So I think there's a lot of factors, that play into this one spot. So. And
there was also a lot of evil that went on there and bad juju.
Yeah, there was some ugly stuff in there.
For what it's worth, and I don't know if this means anything, but when you said about the ley lines, what I heard in my head was we make our own ley lines. So it was said with a very admirable level of confidence.
All right.
Okay. As in like, oh, ley lines, whatevs, we got our own, and that's actually what it feels like to me. That's what it feels like to me, is that it's not something underground that causes to happen. It's something that was put in that ground and meant to be contained by objects that have since been removed.
Well, you're talking about a slab there, and usually when you have something like that far underground, something's being kept, like almost like in a vault.
I think we're talking about an encasement. Yes.
We need to get you over there in June.
Yes, we
do. Absolutely.
What I'm seeing in my head is very similar to what I saw at a place in Skiatook, Oklahoma here, that was called the Witch's Grave. I've never in my life seen one before or after like this, but this Witch's Grave which I actually felt very peaceful around. Shana, you would too, I have no doubt. But this was a grave that was literally a cement cylinder. It was a cement cylinder that was partially unearthed and all around it, starting on one side and it went all the way down one side and wrapped around the other, was hand words in cement.
Wow.
Not done by a machine. But when it was still wet, and it was talking about how they would see them on the other side. Something along those lines. I've got pictures of it somewhere. That's kind of what I'm envisioning in my head, only on a much larger scale.
Some archaeologists that looked at those points that came from the ground down there said they almost looked like poison dart points because they had the little cover that fit over them. But the weird property that they were probably meteorite.
Well, and the symbology of the fact that they were like little skulls isn't lost on me.
Right. We got a couple more questions here, and we'll have to wrap it up and get to Inside the Upside Down because we ran late here with this one because of all of our early technical issues. But
Part 2.
We'll have to do a part 2.
Night.
So from Bree Jones, what is with that 101 window? I'm really drawn to it. The one with the white boards in the corner next to it. So Bree is talking about. Let me bring up the picture of the cafe. So she's talking about the left-hand side there. It says 101 in the lower left-hand corner of that window.
That's the ugly room.
That's the ugly room, huh?
Yeah, that room just gave off some ugly energy. I mean, nobody really...
Oh, that's the room that ate the necklace, isn't it, Shana?
Yeah. Because that's where we had it. I also told them about the story about all the furniture and shit being thrown around.
That was in that room?
Yeah, well, no, but whenever the bookcase that was thrown across ricocheted off the corner of the door and went into that room and knocked over, some stuff. So, bounced
what
into
about
that
the room above it to the back?
That one right there?
You go straight above that room and then go to the back of the house.
Second floor.
Oh, that's that back bedroom where the little girl would hide.
Yeah.
Yeah. That room feels real sad. I mean, like tears.
If you sat upstairs on the couch, that front window is the living room. If you sat on the couch, you'd see her peeking around the doorway at you.
Yeah.
From the bedroom in the back.
It's oppressive to me. The back room is oppressive.
I mean, it's no wonder that she was sad. I mean, just the adult energy in there was just spiteful.